and people screamed. She squeezed her eyes tight and shuddered. Another howl. A small crash, more screams. But now no buzz. The drone must have been damaged, maybe destroyed. She let out her breath, finally. Inhaled deeply, exhaled, and inhaled again, listening to her breath instead of street sounds. One more breath to be sure she was steady, and she turned away from the uproar, opened her eyes, and did not look back as she walked. Avril sent her friend a message, canceling their day together. She needed to think, alone and hard. A week later, she'd made a decision. She was about to join the mutiny. Would it be risky? Of course, but that dog. She had arrived at the university only a few days earlier, a mere incoming freshman. But she could fight back in a lot of ways. Any minute now, the mutiny would begin. She felt sure. So she'd made a few comments at her dormitory's traditional welcoming party around the old fire pit, and she'd met people who said they might have a connection. Now someone was going to join her for breakfast to talk specifics. She left her dorm room and waited for an elevator, aware that people like her should be content with the state of the nation. Her parents could pay for a good education and an upper-end dorm. But, unlike almost all of her smug, self-satisfied classmates back in high school, she knew better. And here at the university, did the other people in the hallways or on the elevators know better too? The dormitory's food court proved the need to mutiny all by itself. She walked up to the door, held her hand in front of a scanner for admission, and gritted her teeth. The prez keeps me safe. Liberty must have limits. Hard times require hard choices. Sure. Freedom was old-fashioned, and the world had changed. She'd heard that mantra too many times. But things just kept getting worse. Now, only first-class citizens could attend universities or vote. Vote! She joined the long line for the one food service area open. The other vendors had lost their licenses, their shelves now bare, their counters unattended. The windows of the big ground floor room still offered a view of the pretty little lake next to the edge of the campus. Bright artwork graced the walls, but gone was any sense, which must have once existed, of community, of the excitement of learning, of intellectual freedom. Even the decades-old, once stylish, sleek hallways and architecture reminded her of something the past did better than the present. "This food is punishment," she murmured to the young man ahead of her. He glanced back at her and shrugged. "There's shortages." "Not really, not this," she said. "There's plenty of food available all over. It's just not being served here anymore." He shrugged again and turned away, unwilling to risk talking, but he knew. Everyone had to know. A new chancellor had been forced on the University of Wisconsin to destroy it, especially the Madison campus. Step 1 involved needless, niggling austerity. Breakfast had become a choice of greasy, overprocessed pastries, gritty cereal, some sort of fake milk, equally fake juice, and something that didn't even smell like coffee. And it was so easy to engineer quality synthesized coffee. Step 2, she imagined, aimed at closing down the campus with its 45,000 students and thus destroying the city of Madison, long a beacon of liberty. The prez and his supporters couldn't even muster subtlety. They didn't have to anymore. She selected an unnaturally bright yellow muffin and a lukewarm cup of brown liquid, and took her tray to an empty table. There were a lot of empty tables. Anyone with spending money ate off campus, where good meals could easily be found, and which meant more money for the chancellor's fast food cronies. Machine-generated pop music blared throughout the food court, another way to make eating unpleasant. The muffin tasted like artificially sweetened sand. Where was her contact? She tried not to look around. Be discreet. That's the first thing. Someone is always watching. She took another bite of the dry, awful muffin. She stared at her phone display as if she were studying. Finally, someone approached. He seemed old enough to be a graduate student and wore a blue t-shirt with a logo.